Welcome in to episode 025 of the Modern Dealer Podcast. My name is David Farmer with Entice, and with me, as always, is David Bertoncini. How you doing, David?
I am so jacked up, so excited today. I think I just peed myself a little bit with excitement just because our guest is incredible today. But before we jump into that there, I just want to make sure, just a little shout out to our community and those that are following us there on iTunes, on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe, follow, like, share, and turn on notifications.
Ding.
And our guest today, oh my God, I'm so proud to introduce her. I've been following her for over a year now. I've taken her course. She is a social media royalty to us here. Our first outside of the car business and our first female guest to appear on our show. She is a business coach. She is a social media expert, an educator, online business expert. She's been featured on Forbes, Huffington Post Top 50 Must Follow Women, Inc., Netflix, Top 10 blogs by Social Media Examiner. She has got I'm going to describe this like a college degree. Like she's got like an AA, means for like, just always amazing. That's my new term for AA. Always amazing on LinkedIn with her 10,000 followers. She's got like a BA, just like a social badass on Facebook. I've renamed all the college things like that. She's got like an MBA on YouTube, 31,000 subscribers. That is just King Kong strong with over 1 million videos watched, 1.8 million views. She's got 5 million.
You're a little excited.
5 million minutes of view time. That converts to like 9.5 years. So somebody just sat down and just binge watched her for like 9.5 years. And then here's a new thing. She's got a PhD in Instagram. That means passion, heart, and desire, right? 91,000 plus engaged followers. Instagram is her jam. She is faster than a speeding DM on Instagram. She is more powerful than a TikTok challenge. She's able to leap to the top of the Instagram feed in a single post. She look up in the cloud. She's on IGTV. She's on the stories. She is Sue B. Zimmerman.
Yeah, I think that's a round of applause. Wow.
I love that you reference TikTok because I am on TikTok just for kicks and giggles and because it links to Instagram and my videos are all Mr. Cody, my cute cockapoo. So TikTok's a thing and I'm aware of it for sure. But
yeah.
We're talking about Instagram.
Today we are talking about Instagram. So what I want to do, Sue, is first of all, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to spend a little bit of time with David and the Modern Dealer Podcast. We're super excited to have you. As David mentioned, you are the first person outside of the automotive industry that we've had on our little show. And we're super excited to be able to dig into something that is kind of near and dear to my heart, which is social media. Something that you've been doing and you've been an expert in for a very long time, something that I've been, from a digital marketing standpoint, have been utilizing for, I want to say 9 years at this point, but from a personal standpoint, only for about the last 6 or 8 months. So really what I'm hoping to do is to get an outsider's perspective on how dealers, whether it's the dealership itself, a salesperson as a personal, trying to create a personal brand for themselves, or as an employee of a dealership, to get an outsider's expert experience and recommendations of how we can really leverage Instagram to make a difference.
Great. Love it. And just to let you guys all know, I grew up in a automobile part business. My dad co-owned a business in Lawrence, Massachusetts called Al's Auto Supply that my great uncle founded. And as a young girl, I would wake up early on Saturday mornings, like 5 a.m. so I could be with my dad, who worked really hard, and really learned to have a good work ethic at a very young age. And he paid me like $50 to go and work with him all day. So that was kind of cool. And the automobile industry, I think, is one of those industries that's absolutely old school in the way that they're marketing, similar to how a lot of real estate agents and travel agents market. And it's time to change things up. So I'm thrilled to be here to talk to your audience.
Awesome. So we have a little bit of a shared background. I also grew up in the car business. My dad managed car dealerships, and I remember when I was 6, 8, 9, 10 years old, kicking around dealerships in parts departments, auto auctions, brushing snow off of cars, and sweeping the showroom floor, and really for the same reason, just to be there to support my father and to be with him Saturday mornings, Sundays, and so on. So that's pretty cool.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So anyhow, do we tell us a little bit more of your background there?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I've been a entrepreneur my whole life. I've never worked for anyone, nor have I ever done a resume. And I have had several businesses, like 18.
Awesome. Wow.
I have a degree in nutrition that I just never used professionally, but it got me to the next place in my business, which took me from the Boston area to Virginia, where I started my first $1 million business selling silkscreen boxer shorts off of push carts, and creating a Hallmark-esque experience, meaning imprinting silk screening on boxer shorts, different sayings for people for gifts. We got licenses with all the colleges and universities. We got licenses with The Simpsons and with Disney. And so I grew a very successful business at a young age and managed a team and understood the marketplace, understood wholesaling, manufacturing, and I did not have a degree in business. It just kind of everything fell into place based on what brought me the most joy. And before we started silk screening those boxer shorts, I was actually hand painting them. But even to go back a little further, because all of you car people listening, my dad used to bring home the model paint from Al's Auto Supply and paint models. And I took that paint and painted barrettes, which are clips that you put in your hair. And I sold those at recess when I was 13, even though I wasn't supposed to. So I was a little rule breaker, still am. No one gets hurt when I break rules, but that paint was the start of my creative passion and utilizing it and making money, and then subsequently painting clothing that turned into this awesome opportunity that I had for 4 years. And then I moved back to the Boston area and started a family, and then launched a lot of other businesses thereafter. And then the one that makes the most sense for your listeners to hear about is the business that I had prior to my online marketing business, which I've had now for the past 7 years, which is my store on Cape Cod in Massachusetts. So I learned how to really market online on social. I've been teaching social media for the past 10 years, and I learned how to bring business into the store. So this is where it gets really juicy for all the listeners to understand that I understand what it means to bring someone into a physical location as much as I understand how to teach and educate using Instagram. So there's so many strategies that you can be using, whether you own a dealership, whether you are an advocate, an employee at that dealership, or whether you are a salesperson and you're creating a brand within that dealership, kind of like how a lot of these multi-level marketing companies work, because you get commission based on sales. And so it's your reputation that people are connected to as much as it is the dealership that you work for. So how do you grow a personal brand within that environment? And I did that from my store on Cape Cod called Subi Doo, and got so much foot traffic into my store, and my sales increased so much so that I really wanted to teach other business owners how to have the same kind of success. So my teaching and educating really morphed out of previous businesses where I know that I'm good at teaching. I used to teach art classes to kids. I used to teach on stage at QVC for one of my businesses. I used to teach social media, and now I get to teach a global audience how to really leverage the power of Instagram to get more visibility, to build more credibility, to grow a community, and ultimately make more money, because that's what it's all about, right?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So a couple things there. So just a little bit about me. The technology company that I started as an entrepreneur about 10 years ago, our first product, which we call Lead Maker, does exactly what you use social media for, leveraging a dealership's website. And we incentivize the customer to visit the dealership showroom with a $25 Visa incentive. So the goal is to get a customer, give them something in return for what we want them to do, to incentivize them. So I'd be really interested to find out if there's any tips and tricks or any recommendations on what specifically either a salesperson could do in some tactics on what should they post, how should they post, how can they leverage Instagram to get a customer in the showroom.
Well, about relationship building, right, and outreach, and being aware of your market. And for dealers especially, there's so many strategies around just the geolocation of what you're posting in the feed or in stories or in your IGTV or going live. So there are 4 neighborhoods of Instagram.
Okay.
There's 4 places to create content. So I like to say Instagram is a village and there's 4 neighborhoods. So you need to know where your target audience hangs out. So do they hang out more in the feed? Do they hang out more in stories? Are they enjoying watching stories? Are they tuning into the IGTV channel, which is actually one of my favorite places to be hanging out, especially in 2019 and beyond, because Instagram has integrated IGTV into the feed this past year. Mm-hmm. And then there's Instagram Live. So there's opportunities for you to connect with those that would be interested. So how do you find those people? Well, you can find them from doing market research around that geolocation where you are based. You can also search certain hashtags for the location. For example, I live in downtown Boston, like literally downtown Boston. Oh, wow, and so, yeah. So it's a snowy day here today. So, but I can use many different location-based hashtags. So whether it's hashtag Boston, hashtag downtown Boston, hashtag Boston Crossing, I can search those hashtags and look at the content within those hashtags. But just like when I'm coaching real estate agents, it's like finding out like who's moving, who's looking to buy a Toyota or a VW or a Lamborghini or whatever it is that you sell, who's looking, and you can find them on Instagram just by searching certain hashtags to find out what community of people are posting, because people that are brand advocates for your car, are, and my brain just went to football games because that's when all the car commercials are on, and they're all pretty pathetic in my mind. But I was trying to reference a car ad that I thought was like phenomenal, and my brain went to the LL Bean ad that I recently saw on the Patriots game because that was like the best ad that they posted. And you might be saying, well, Sue, why was it the best ad? And I would say because it was different. Everything that I see in the car dealership space is essentially copying each other, and no one is innovating. And so because there's the only way to show up on social, specifically Instagram, is to be extremely different, where you disrupt the industry. And so disruption, in my mind, gets attention gets eyeballs, and then people talk about you. Well, great, let's have people talk about me. Well, people will talk about you on Instagram in different ways. They'll @mention you. You'll get a notification on your Instagram account when they @mention your account. And there's just endless strategies. And I can't even give a good example because there's nobody in the car dealer space that's doing like Instagram extremely awesome in my mind.
I agree. I know David has something to say here, and I'm going to let him say it, but I agree with you 100%. Almost all tier 3 dealers, the auto dealer themselves, their advertising is very much the same. There really isn't a whole lot of differentiation, and nobody, at least that I've seen in the automotive space, really utilizes Instagram other than whatever ads they might have on Facebook are going to get pushed over to Instagram. But I know that David had a good point that he wanted to bring up.
One of the big things I see, Sue, and it just like it makes my skin crawl every time I see this, is everybody that has a dealership that has their own Instagram page. Say it's Toyota of Boston has their own Instagram page. You go to their Instagram and it's just stock photos that they're just reposting. And that's not grabbing. That's just like you said, it's just the same old plain boring shit basically that they're putting out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking right now, Land Rover, it's all cars, there's no people. So that's the biggest problem. It's like there's a little bit of people on the Land Rover. I looked at Toyota, I looked at Lexus, and it's like pushing the cars. It's like, what about the emotional feeling of the family that's driving the car and the value that they get from being in the car and the features of the car that they actually love? Did you guys see Matt Damon's new movie?
No, I have not yet.
I forget what it's called, but I just saw it. So good. Like, the listeners can learn from watching that, just kind of the conversation around Ford versus Ferrari.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the movie.
Yeah, it was a great movie. It's worth every single one of you. You all should go listen, go watch that, because there's some good talking points and social media opportunities for dealerships to understand, like, what is it that people are most interested in. There's a lot of the science behind making the cars faster, and like what was sexy about that, and like switching out the engine, and like what it took to do that when they were racing, and talking about colors and what's the color of the year, and what's the car color of the year and why, and like there's just so much content that can be infused in these car dealers, and they just don't know how to take the time to do it. They'll probably all come up with excuses that they're too busy. The truth is they don't know how to do it, and that's the problem.
You're
so
correct. 100%.
Yeah, when they don't know how to do it, when anyone doesn't know how to do something, they say they don't have the time, they're too busy. Well, I call bullshit on that, because you make the time to do the things that are most important. And if you grow a community of people that talk about your dealership because you give amazing service and people like going there, then you're building something. I will tell you firsthand, a car dealership is my least favorite place in the world to go, other than the post office. Because I cannot stand waiting for anything to happen. And there's such a dance at car dealerships of, oh, let me go talk to my manager. And that to me says, okay, so you ultimately don't have the power to say yes to this offer. You've got to go get approval from someone. And then there's this whole dance. I walk into a dealer, I'm like, I'm not here to dance. I'm here to like buy a car. I can buy it today. Tell me, like, I know the blue book price. I know what I want. Tell me the best price, and don't dick around with me, because I can go over here and get it somewhere else. So you don't want people to go over there. You want them to come to you because you offer something so much better than just the price. So where's the value? Where's the value? The value's in the way you make people feel. The value's in customer service. The value's in having something really unique and different when you're waiting. And it's not just coffee and donuts. It's like green juice and apples. Like, I want to eat healthy. I don't want to sit there and have sugar and candy for my kids. Right. Like, all these old ways that people are just luring people in. Like, what can you do to disrupt the industry? Just like, WeWork and Industrious has disrupt an industry, and Uber, and there's just so many ways to change things, to make, like, have massage chairs sit while people are sitting there, so then they can actually get a massage, like Brookstone, like have a sponsor from Brookstone, or like, I could think of 500 ways to just make it a better experience, instead of me saying, I cannot believe I have to go to the car dealer today. Like, I cannot stand it. So, and also, like, where are the females in the sales area here? Like, it's such a male dominating business, and the way women sell and the way men sell are completely different. Like, we sell because we like really care about building relationships. I think, I mean, I'm just going to put the female brain over here for a second. In a male dominating space, because I know this to be true, it's like, everyone's so commission based, and they want that commission. They want to hit their monthly sale revenue goals, and they'll do anything to hit them. And that's how I feel, like, which is what, I don't know. I don't know how many surveys have been done out there, but I will tell you, I do not want to go buy a new car because of it. It's just like, don't want to buy a car because I just hate the way that I feel when I go to the dealership.
So the way that you feel is exactly the way that we feel about the industry as well. Both, I mean, I've been in the car business since I was 8-9 years old, like I explained, really my entire life. I go back with Mr. Bertoncini back to the mid-90s when we sold cars together. And it was that same culture then as it is today. And that really is one of the recurring themes of the Modern Dealer podcast, and really why we do what we do with the Modern Dealer podcast, to talk about that. One of the points that we try to bring up to get dealers to think about making changes to the culture within the store is to really start to think about how salespeople interact with customers and really think about it more from a process standpoint instead of a product standpoint, where salespeople become experts in the process to make it faster, to make it easier, to make it more transparent, to make it to where the process of buying a car isn't worse than going to the dentist, where it becomes an enjoyable experience. So really trying to figure out a way to create benefits or things that dealers can make some changes for, to really sell in 2020 and beyond. And we think, a big differentiation is focus on the process versus on the salesy product stuff. And then I think by doing that, we can take that type of stuff and make it content and make that shareable. Talk about
I mean, it comes to listening. This is a book that every single person should be buying in your industry. I don't know if you've read it, but it's called The Power of Moments, and literally how to change and disrupt every step of the customer journey so they want to talk about you because you made them feel so good, that you had a solution for the crying toddler, that the teenager that's like, can we just go now? Like, you have the thing that makes them happy. It's just such a opportunity for car dealers, which typically are handed down generation after generation, and the old ways are just the only ways instead of busting and changing. And so I just see it as such an opportunistic industry for social selling. So social selling is when your cars are getting sold because other people are talking about you. So if you're the salesperson at this dealership and you want to get more customers, just like the real estate broker that works at Coldwell Banker or Compass, which is one of my favorite, like I spoke at their conference, they've disrupted an industry, Compass. So for all of you, go search Compass on Instagram and see how they disrupted signs that are in people's yards and just what they've given their brokers, like insurance that they've wanted for so long. Like, how can you make change feel good from the top down and really implement that in a way that is saying that I want to be part of that movement. I want to be part of that brand, of that business. And I had such a great experience that I want my friends to go here. I want my kids to go here. Like, you could create such a culture that it's a no-brainer for other people to refer. And there should be a referral program where you, like, if someone literally walked in and said, I bought my car because Subi Zimmerman said to go to this dealer, well, you should reward Subi Zimmerman with the next free oil change or tune-up or something that is easy for you to do and show appreciation. So there's just endless opportunities that I see so necessary in this field and in this industry, and so much can be done and shared on social, specifically on Instagram.
Awesome. I love that. And I really want to pick up in our next segment about social selling and really the things that we know works well in the real estate industry. Those things should transfer extremely well to the car industry with individual salespeople. But we're 24 minutes and 48 seconds into the first segment, so we're going to go take a quick break, and we're going to come back and we're going to dig into that a little bit further. So we'll be right back. Welcome back into episode 025 of the Modern Dealer Podcast. We are here with our very special guest, Subi. And we were talking about leveraging social media selling for salespeople and what car salespeople, automotive salespeople can learn from the real estate industry. I think is a good crossover. So So let me say it this way. One of the things that I started to do about 140 days ago is I started to do a daily post on Twitter and on Instagram with a social media post for salespeople. And just like you were mentioning earlier, is like if you don't know what to do, you're going to say that you can't do it because you don't have time. So what I wanted to be able to do, based on my experience in the automotive industry, which I spent 20 years in a car dealership selling cars and managing, is coming up with a daily tip of one simple small thing that you can do, and I put that out there on Instagram. And so it's not something that becomes something that is hard or difficult. I mean, it could be something as simple as as you're walking into the dealership, do a selfie video saying how much you love about working at the dealership, and just sharing that. So it's some small tip on a daily basis. So I guess what I'd like to find out is, based on your experience and what you train, what are some of the basic blocking and tackling things that salespeople should consider, and maybe this could even translate into what you do from an education standpoint on how you educate people to utilize Instagram to create their personal brand.
Yeah, I think daily habits are really important. I am listening to the book Atomic Habits right now. Awesome on Audible. Great way to just change and shift habits. And with that said, I think you need to be really present with those walking in the door and really connect with them on a deep level, where you're giving your attention and time. But I think there's also opportunities to capture behind the scenes, like you were just saying, on your phone very quickly, very easily, and saving it to your camera roll for the appropriate time to actually do strategically an Instagram story that makes sense. So I always start with content at the top, which is, what is the goal for this content? Why are you sharing it? If it's random and there's no storyline, people are going to mute your Instagram stories and they're not going to come back. So if you are going to show behind the scenes of a happy customer, like, what is the goal at the end of that story? Or if you post that in your feed, why are you posting it? What is the action that you want others to take, and not just to check it off your list as something that you're doing every day? But I'm all about the intention behind every single action that I take in my business, and my team is as well, because it's all a representation of the business and the brand. So you need to sit down in a conference room and have a social strategy. And it can't be the kid that just graduated college or your son to do it because they know how to do social media. It has to be with like an intention, which is maybe you want to sell. I don't even know how many cars a month are a good amount of cars to sell. Do you guys know?
300.
Yeah.
300.
Okay. So you want to sell 350 cars this month. How are you going to do that? And what social strategies are you going to use? So having social proof of happy customers driving off with their new car, getting a testimonial from them, why they liked buying it from you, or why they liked buying that car. A lot of people might just say, because it had the color I wanted. Because color is obviously a big deal when it comes to cars. But the performance obviously is as well. So just understanding, I like to call these content buckets. And we talk about this a lot in my course, Ready, Set, Gram, which we'll talk about soon. But I always encourage my clients to have 5 to 7 buckets of content that are essentially your core values and your brand, things about you and your brand. So when we're talking about the salesperson, or we're talking about, so it's the salesperson, or it's the dealer, the salesperson, or what was the third thing we were talking about?
The sales manager.
The sales manager is the same thing as a salesperson, but what was the other tier that we, there's people that sell the cars, there's people that own the dealers, and then maybe service, but depending on who you are, whether or not you want to curate an Instagram account, I'm really talking to the salespeople. You want to talk about yourself and your persona. People are buying that car because of you. You work at that dealer, and that brand is a part of you. But what is it about you that people like? So I know from me, they like that I have this work from anywhere lifestyle, where no matter where I travel in the world, I can speak on different stages. All I need is my phone, and I can literally give value as a successful business owner. people also like my lifestyle here in Boston and on Cape Cod. So I'm often showing that in the background. People like that I'm a mother of 3 daughters, and that I am a successful business owner, and that I like bright colors, and that I'm healthy, and that moving is a big part of our company culture at my business. So as a company, what are the things that you hold near and dear as part of your culture? And there's a lot of businesses that you can look at. Like we use Wistia here in Cambridge for our video editing. They've got great company culture. Later Media is another one. Like there's teams of businesses that have a good company culture. And Sarah Blakely, my favorite person on Instagram, who is the founder of Spanx, the wealthiest, female business owner here in the US, self-made billionaire. Like she is boss on Instagram, the best example. For those of you that haven't gone through her masterclass, totally worth that investment, just to understand, how to sell in today's world of product-based businesses, service-based businesses, and to sell without selling. Social selling is serving. It is not selling. It's not buy my shit. It's like serving will sell if you show up consistently and give value and nurture and teach and build trust. And those principles align and should be etched in every car dealer's business plan.
What I see a lot from a dealer's perspective of how they're leveraging Facebook or Instagram or really social at all in 2 ways. Either, number one, they show a picture of somebody that just bought a car, which is, I think some of that, having that social proof is great. But if that's the only thing that you're posting, after 2 or 3 of them, everybody kind of goes blind anyways to that. And the other thing they say is, come see me today to buy a car. So it's those 2 things that have really nothing to do with building value or...
The word telling someone what to do, it should be twisted. It should be turned to, if you're in the market to buy a car, our dealership might be a place for you to come visit because we do X, Y, and Z. Everyone wants social proof and everything. And so that should be in a story and then saved in your highlights called testimonials or praise or happy customers. So Instagram gives you the opportunity to take the stories that you are crafting strategically with intention and save them as a resource it's basically a testimonial resource on your Instagram account, which is essentially a website. Like I don't even go to websites. I don't use Yelp. I go to Instagram to find where I want to eat. I look at their menu, I look at their feed to see what foods I'm going to order based on what other people are saying. I go to Instagram to search for every single business and brand. I don't get magazines. I don't get newspapers. I don't get news. Instagram is everything. And more, there's over 1 billion monthly active users. When I first started teaching Instagram, there was only 140 million. So every business is on Instagram. Yep. People are searching to find what they want and they want to stay on the platform. And I purchase art. I've spent thousands of dollars on art for our apartment from Instagram. So you can make a sale. It all depends on how you're showing up and giving that value.
Connecting with your customers. It's funny, just a little tidbit. Sarah Blakely is actually from our area right here in Clearwater, Tampa Bay area. So it's that we love her and follow her, and just it's awesome to see a self-made billionaire, amazing, same age as myself, come up through the Clearwater area and such. And her husband also has a course too. I took his course, Jesse.
Yeah. Jesse does too. Yeah, I just saw him here in Boston. I was at a conference called Hyper Growth, and they were speakers, so I got to connect with them here. Yeah.
Very cool.
Awesome. And just some really good stuff there. So.
Could you tell me a little bit about your course and what you offer? I would be interested in learning more on for me personally, so I can really help create my personal brand, and then also anybody that's watching us, what they can do to really dig in and get their arms around Instagram.
Sure. So Ready, Set, Gram is my signature beginner Instagram course for anyone who is either new to Instagram or has under 5,000 followers or isn't making any money yet. So it's a very focused niche course. The riches are in the niches, and all the marketing around this says so. And we have thousands of people that have taken this course. We have a VIP Facebook community. So if you have any questions after you invest in the course, we answer them in our private Facebook group. I have a community manager, Jenny, who handles those questions. And it's 8 modules. It will take you about 8 hours to learn sequentially what you need to do step by step, from building out your bio, which is so important. That it essentially is the promise that you're making in your feed, to understanding hashtag strategies and posting strategies, and understanding IGTV and Instagram stories and Instagram live. I literally take you through the 4 neighborhoods that we mentioned earlier and help you feel confident that you can understand it. And I know that every dealer would really get a lot of value out of this course. And I've spoken on a couple other car related podcasts, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
And, it's just like, this is an industry that needs to understand social more than so many others.
Well, it's such a big industry, right? I mean, there's so many people that's involved in the automotive industry. And I think as an industry, we have such a huge opportunity with social media selling. So having access to a course like yours, I think it's essential.
Yeah. Agreed.
Well, we're 12 minutes into the second segment. I know that we're covering a lot of great information here. I'm super excited to be able to have this opportunity to chat. I know that you're super busy and you got things that you need to get off to. And I know that David wanted to go over a few other things. Do you have anything you wanted to?
No, I just had a question. For like a brand new, I've always encouraged new salespeople just starting out at a car dealership. They're never sold cars before or anything like that. Getting themselves branded out there. Where should like a brand new salesperson just get going? What's like one of the very first little things they should just come out of the gate with?
I think people should do market research, and on Instagram you can search other dealers, other salespeople, see what they're doing, see what you like, create a list, what you like, what you don't like, what resonates with you, what doesn't, and create those buckets of content that we talked about, and start sharing your knowledge and your passion for selling cars, like your story. It's all about story. It's all about your story. Everyone relates to stories. So sharing the why you're doing what you're doing beyond just making the money, but the impact and how you want to serve and help others.
Gotcha. What I see a lot of dealerships kind of have their hands tied a little bit is some of the big corporately owned auto dealerships. There's companies like AutoNation, Sonic. These are big companies in our industry, almost like an Apple and an Amazon. What happens is a lot is the big brother is telling them what they can and cannot do. Any tips on kind of maybe how to circumvent that, how to get around that from like big corporation?
Why are they in charge of what you can or can't do? I don't understand.
Well, so like, AutoNation will basically, they're controlling everything that goes on social media. And they're just telling you can't do this, you can't do that. They're just telling them all these roadblocks, and they create all these rules. My idea, I just think it's just, a bunch of people sitting in the ivory tower calling all these shots. So they have salespeople, they have dealers, have everybody's hands tied on what they cannot do.
What rules are you talking about?
What you can and cannot post.
As an employee?
It's like an employee.
Okay.
And just like, they're like, oh, well, you're not allowed to post this. You're not allowed to post that. And we've just had
I would question that and break those rules. Like, if it's my dealership and I own it and it's my bottom line, I wouldn't let anyone tell me what I can and can't do. So there's problems with that right there.
Yeah. I think too that a lot of this comes right down to the individual person that's doing it. So if I was in the business of selling cars today, I would be trying to figure out how I can leverage social media, including Instagram, on how to create my online reputation or my personal brand. And regardless of what dealership that I happen to work at, so if I worked at this dealership and then I leave that dealership for whatever reason, maybe go someplace else, I'm able to bring my brand with me because it's a representation of who I am. I think
look at all the artists, look at all the musicians and all the the basketball players that change hands regularly. They all have their own personal brand on Instagram. It's them. They're selling them.
It's who they are. Yeah. And that's one of the things that I like to talk about a lot is, how much this thing right here has changed the world and the way that we communicate. And Instagram, just like Facebook or just like the telephone or just like texting or FaceTime, it's just a way to communicate, whether it's one to many or one to one. It's still just using this device to communicate with other people. And I think that's what social media really allows us to do, is to be able to communicate just in a little bit different way.
Yeah.
So I always say content creates opportunity. So opportunity essentially is a conversation. If you're creating content that resonates with your potential buyer, you are in conversation. And that's what you want. You want a real conversation. You don't want likes. You don't want followers. You want a conversation that leads to an opportunity. Now, that opportunity might not be this month, but in a year from now or 2 years from now, if you're making an impression, they will remember you. They will buy from you. I will give you an example. My real estate agent, Jill Boudreau, who's out in Wellesley, Massachusetts, sent brownies called brownie points when my kids were little to everyone in Wellesley. Like, she spent $5,000 on this, like, instead of sending postcards, like, let's bust through what everyone else does, because those all end up in the garbage anyway. Right. She sent tiny mini brownies called brownie points. I remembered that when we sold our house. She's who I hired to sell our house. Yep. And our house sold for $1 million, and she got commission on that. That's awesome. So there you go.
Yeah. It's planting the seeds. It's not looking for that immediate response, but planting the seeds, building relationships.
It's not, you're not in it you're in it. If you're in business, you're in it for the long term. It's not immediate. And so relationships take time to build that trust, to nurture, to get people to actually like you and get to know you and really feel your passion and joy around who you are and what you do. And the minute someone feels like they're being sold to, that's when they don't want to have anything to do with you. No one likes to be sold to.
Yeah. Yeah. Pull out all that salesy content, leave that behind. Have faith in that if you provide valuable content, you share important information, something could learn from you, that's going to pay results at some point in the future. And I think that
if you consistently show up, and I've been at this for 7 years, teaching Instagram day in and day out. I've been speaking on stages all over the world and giving value, helping other people understand how to use Instagram. So when people are ready to go all in, they will invest in my course, or they will invest in Ready, Set, Glam Pro, my 90-day advanced coaching program. They will invest when they're ready, and not everyone's ready when you're ready. And so you have to be patient, and you have to understand that sending a yearly gift to customers that you've had. In fact, we do that at my business. Every single person that I've coached, we send cards, we send gifts, we send reminders, and we send postcards that they share on social. We create sweatshirts that are embroidered, so they share it on social. The social proof is everything with happy customers, and they want to be part of your community, part of your brand, part of your business if you do it well.
Well, this is very, very, very cool. I'm very appreciative of you participating in our podcast. Again, this is episode 25. We've done it every week now for 25 weeks. It's been extremely enjoyable to be able to put content out there for the short period of time that we have, and get to the point where we can have somebody like you just sit and chat with us. So yeah. I'm really appreciative of this opportunity.
I'd love to give your listeners a little challenge. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So if you've listened to this, if you've liked it, I want to connect with you and meet you. And I would love for you to come over to The Instagram Expert. That's my handle on Instagram, where you can literally scroll through those highlights that I mentioned earlier. They're right below my bio, those circles with resource content, my feed you can scroll through, and say hello. Let me know that you connected with me from listening to this fabulous podcast, and mention them. And your account name, oh gosh, I've gotten so many DMs since you and I spoke. Flip, what is it what is it that we want to tell people to go to?
The Modern Dealer Podcast.
Actually, we don't
know. On Instagram.
Yeah, so on Instagram, we actually have our individual. So mine is david.allen.farmer, and yours is?
Bert the Car Flipper.
Bert the Car Flipper, there you go.
Okay, so that's a little tricky. So we need to come up with a hashtag so that you guys can search it. So what's the name of the podcast again?
The Modern Dealer Podcast.
That's long, but we're going to try it.
Okay.
So come say hello on my last post. Use the hashtag the Modern Dealer Podcast so that I know you came over from this interview. And if you have any question at all, you can ask me a question in the Instagram direct message. I will send you a resource from either one of my 350 YouTube videos that I have for you, or a downloadable resource such as my guide, which you all should grab. SueBZimmerman.com/guide will get you my free Instagram strategy guide. You can start learning today all about the 4 neighborhoods. It's 8 pages and it's free. So grab that for sure.
Awesome. Absolutely fantastic. You have anything else you want to cover? You have
You want to do our little quick little fun questions for the end? So let's do a couple little fun questions that I was inspired by some of our colleagues that we do both follow and everything like that. So these are just quick little questions. This will be the Modern Dealer quick round questions. Where was your last vacation? Budapest. Wow.
And I'm going to Morocco next week.
Nice.
I travel a lot.
My dad was actually born in Morocco, so that's kind of cool.
Awesome. All right, if you had your own food truck, what would you name it?
Subi Honey.
Suvi Honey. I love it. What TV show are you binge watching?
I love The Marvelous Miss Maisel. A lot of people tell me that I remind them of her because I'm so direct and I drop F-bombs all the time.
Yes. And what is the funniest Wi-Fi network name you have seen?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know because they're usually ridiculously long. So I can't even give it back to you. It's just way too many numbers. Sorry, don't have an answer for that one.
That's all right.
I'm going to jump in right there. So I named one of them when I was at a conference. I named the Wi-Fi network. This is not the Wi-Fi that you're looking for.
This is not the Wi-Fi you're looking for. And last one, if you
network here in my apartment is Tesla.
Tesla. Okay, that's cool. Good stuff. And if you had to put a celebrity voice on your navigation, what celebrity would you have?
I love Sarah Blakely, so let's go with her.
Awesome. That's it. That's the end of my fun little cues.
That's what we got.
Fun questions. That's all I got for right now. I am, as I said, completely just flattered that you've accepted our invitation. Came on our.
I love getting in people's earbuds. It's the most intimate place to connect with others. So thanks for listening. I've enjoyed this. It's a little bit out of my typical podcast interview. So I love that there's two dudes. I'm hanging out with 2 dudes in a very male dominated industry, but I'm used to that. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this. And I really enjoyed being here.
Well, thank you so much.
Awesome.
We do appreciate it.
Thank you.
And for Sue, for David, and David, that's a wrap. All right, welcome back into a little extra of Modern Dealer Podcast, episode 025. And in this segment, we're only going to talk about a giveaway. So this is something that we are excited to be able to do with Sue B. Zimmerman, and we're going to give away one of her courses to somebody that is going to like and subscribe. And how do we want to structure this, David?
Want to make sure that they share it. So the biggest thing is getting it shared out there, right? So you would.
Yes, I think the best way to do this is to you need to track it, right? So you're going to need to keep track of it, and the best way to do that is to get those @mentions on. So the giveaway is for Ready Set Grand, my signature course. The value is $497. So you want to win this, and you want your team to watch this course so that you can be a badass dealer out there. And in order to win it, you need to come on over, follow the Instagram expert, follow both Davids. They'll put their link to their Instagram accounts right here for you so that you'll see all 3 of our links. Follow all 3 of us so we can track it, and use the hashtag, which is the name of this podcast, when you comment and share this, right?
Yeah.
Right. That'll be the @mention at the Modern Dealer Podcast, or hashtag the Modern Dealer Podcast.
Yep.
So good stuff. That'll be fun. And we need to basically, that'll 10x some activity. And like I said, I took this course. I'm actually currently taking the course right now. I'm on module number 5. It kicks ass. I mean, Sue goes so deep. That's why I'm so excited about doing this, is she goes so deep into things that you look at and you don't understand and you just blow past on Instagram. But she goes so deep into it, makes it so digestible, understandable. There's worksheets. I mean, if you have a question, like she said, she'll connect with you in her community. She's always actively involved. And like I said, day in and day out, she is working Instagram. She's helping everybody learn exactly how to do this. And, as a car dealer, as a salesperson, you need this course desperately because, you're, without a voice, without connecting, like Sue had said, there is no relationship. And you can show a customer a relationship by just simply showing tips, tricks, and hacks every day, something of value. If you deliver value to the people that you're trying to sell to, they will always remember you, and there may be that'll result in some sales. So we're excited about giving away one of these Ready, Set, Graham courses. So that is
awesome. Thanks, you guys. That was so generous of you to do that for your listeners. I'm really excited, and I'm excited to see who that lucky winner is going to be and new member into our Ready, Set, Graham community. You can search #RSG community to see that we have over 20,000 posts on Instagram and conversation and awesome people there to connect with as well. So I will see you guys hopefully on Instagram. Thanks so much.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Sue. Awesome.
It's called sweat equity, David.